Hello and welcome back to the No More Trauma virtual wellness studio and podcast. So in this episode today, I want to talk about what style of yoga is right for you. We'll dive in some of the most popular practices and I'll explore some of the benefits and go over some of the myths. If it's your first time tuning in, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. And if you're a returning subscriber or listener, I'd like to welcome you back. Thank you for supporting me in the work that I do as a clinical yoga therapist, instructor, and wellness facilitator and coach. And so my mission is to support you in elevating your mental health through the therapeutic practices of education, yoga, and Pilates for trauma recovery. So let's dive in. So as we know, we may have logged onto YouTube or even walked into yoga studios or virtual studios and may not have felt clear on the actual practice that was right for us. You notice that there are a variety of classes and you might find yourself leaning towards one style over others. It's important to identify which style of yoga really aligns with your specific physical, emotional, and spiritual needs to really ensure that you're receiving the benefits from your practice. So be mindful that attending the wrong class can actually lead to injuries, contradictions, or energetic disruptions. So let's continue. If you felt overwhelmed in the options and are unsure, as I mentioned, this is a great video to listen and continue tuning into. So how many styles of yoga are there? Well, there's quite a few. I like to say that there are some fusion classes and the foundational classes. So yoga is forever evolving, right? We may see goat yoga, we may see trap yoga, we may see yoga and beer. While I may not be a fan of some of those classes, I do want to just say, when you're choosing a class, making sure that you're choosing one that you're leaving fulfilled, right? The yoga postures shouldn't feel, if we're speaking of the asana itself, not necessarily the theme, but if we're speaking of the practice and the physical practice of the yoga, just making sure that we're finding it pleasurable, right? Yoga isn't supposed to hurt or cause injury. However, there are times when those things can happen, right? But the more that we know, the more that we can lean into what is actually right for us, for the benefit, and actually have a good and pleasurable experience. So I want to also share in terms of our yoga experience, I want to kind of look at some myths. Longer holds do not equal easy or beginner level. We may look on social media or we may hear an instructor say that because this practice is slower, then it may be easier, and that is not at all the case. When we're in our practice, we're in a yoga posture, and just because we're holding those poses longer, it can be a little bit more challenging, either to keep the mind from having intrusive thoughts. Also, it could also look like, even in that posture, holding it, because we're holding it for a long time, even that can be challenging. So I want to really debunk that myth that says because it's slower, it's easier, it's beginner level, everyone can do it. Even the most advanced yoga practitioners may also find it challenging staying in those postures for a lengthy period of time. I also want to look at the myth that says inversions means that you're more advanced. And again, that is not the case. Inversions do not equal more of a advanced yoga practitioner, student, or teacher. It just means that practice is in their practice. Our bodies are all made up differently. We have larger muscles, larger, bones. We have more range of motion. It could be genetics. Our body may allow us to practice one pose versus the other. There are a lot of the most inverted practices, I would say, that can be more accessible to one. However, what may appear to be the easiest, right? Let's take easy seat, which I'm kind of sitting in right now. And as we age, our bodies shift and change. And I always like to say that as we age and we grow, we have to continue to get to know our body over and over again every time we sit on the mat. And so as we age and we grow, maybe our body isn't comfortable in that posture anymore. And so we have to continue to get acclimated to a pose. So it doesn't put you at guru status because you can stand on your head. And then we come down and we're, may not be able to get the arms and, the palms to touch in reverse prayer. So just want to share that piece of information as well, or debunk that myth. Another myth is the pose, right? The pose. The goal isn't the pose. It's to explore the breath and to stay with the sensations that arise within a posture. Can you stay and trust your breath? Can you observe the things that show up in the mind, maybe the intrusive thoughts, maybe the memories, maybe the ideas, the goals? Can we separate ourselves from that which arises in the mind and just allow that voice to maybe quiet just a bit? Maybe we can, I don't want to say quiet, but maybe we can turn the volume down just a bit and just explore what happens with the breath. And maybe in a seated posture, or maybe like a revolving twist, can we explore what happens to the breath and how it moves from the right lung versus the left lung? We can explore that. So again, it's not always or only the posture itself. It's about the breath. It's about the mind. It's about, can I experience this pose? I'll keep it there. I'll go on forever. We are drinking today a Ticino roasted herbal tea. I love their teas. Not sponsored at all, but I will leave a link. I swear everyone I go up to, I'm like, have you tried Ticino? I will link them down below. They're herbal teas, so if you if you're a coffee drinker, but maybe you want to, not really a fan of the caffeine, they have some really beautiful dark roast teas and some great roasted coffees. I wouldn't really know about the coffees because I don't drink coffee, but I love the smell. I'll link it down below. If you're enjoying this episode so far, I invite you to subscribe to my channel so you can stay tuned in on all of the updates. There's a lot happening on my end in terms of rebranding and what yoga looks like for me and the direction that I'm going with yoga. Don't worry, I will be practicing yoga. Yoga will always be involved in my life. Yeah, it's like Tanya and then yoga on my forehead, I promise. I was gonna say, yes, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and turn on notifications if you want to stay up to date. The podcast, if you're not getting in this experience, you're hearing me, seeing me here on YouTube, but the podcast, Apple, and SoundCloud. Make sure you subscribe. And the newsletter. Hello, subscribe to the newsletter. I just started the newsletter. I've been talking about it for so long. However, me and consistency, we have this love-hate, forever working on it. But yoga, that helps me with that. So yeah, feel free to subscribe to the newsletter, the Substack. So I'll link all that information down below. Okay, let's continue. Tanya, you're talking a lot. Okay, sorry. So let's talk about the yoga styles. Okay, so some of the popular yoga styles that you'll see in a yoga studio, let's talk, I have a list here, but let's talk Hatha. Hatha, and that's Hatha. It means sun and moon. It's the oldest traditional practice in foundational, and it has these foundational poses. And this practice is a slower practice, not as slow as, say, yin, and we'll get into that. But it is a slower practice, which makes it easily accessible. And I put a star around that, which when I say easily accessible, but it's accessible to everyone. Right? This practice combines, like I stated, the lunar and the solar energy. And it's a practice of the pranayama, which is the breath, and asana, movement, or posture. And so, like I stated, you're holding those for a little bit longer. It's a little bit slower, but it's the oldest practice of yoga. And so you'll find the primary series and secondary series. So you'll see those series, like if you're looking on YouTube, you may even find it in a studio. So that is Hatha yoga. That is my first, when I first got started, that was the style of yoga that I was certified in. So the next is, I'm just there is no particular order, I'm just naming them, right? And I'll just go in order as I have it typed up here. So restorative yoga. Restorative yoga is a deep, restful practice with the use of props such as blocks. Using it to hold up my laptop here. Bolsters. Don't have that, but it's usually, if you've seen my other videos, it's the blue, almost like pillow round bolster that sits behind me. So bolsters, pillows, straps, eye pillows, that can be used in a restorative practice. And all of these practices are usually practiced lower to the earth, so closest to the mat. Okay, and like I stated, it's a deep, restful practice. So I like to say, if you're if you find yourself more so in that yang energy, right? Really just go, go, go. Or maybe you have a good, cardio strength training practice. I believe this is a really good practice to incorporate into your, whatever that is, your fitness, physical well-being routine. This is a really counter practice that you can start to add in if you haven't practiced a restorative yoga. And so this is also good. Challenges with, say, anxiety. And I kind of go back and forth with that because sometimes these slower practice, if you struggle with anxiety, sometimes that can be a little bit stimulating practice, and you may want something a little bit more active. So maybe hatha, leaning into that hatha practice, that may be another option. Even yin, because that's yin poses. So in restorative, you can hold those poses anywhere up to 10 minutes, 5 minutes. I haven't practiced restorative holding it for 10 minutes, but I would say anywhere between 5 and 10 minutes. So yin, it's targeting the fascia tissue, okay? And these postures are held anywhere between 3 and 5 minutes, sometimes even 2 minutes, to reduce muscular engagement. And so it increases relaxation, the relaxation response, and really aim to support the body in its natural equilibrium. So that's yin. Most of those postures are also, so again, postures held for longer periods of time, okay? So slower than hatha, right? Again, targeting that fascia tissue, practiced more so low to the ground, okay? So yoga nidra, or I rest. So that's I-R-E-S-T. So I rest, or yoga nidra. And this practice, also known, you may hear, sleep yoga. And this practice is practiced in savasana. Sometimes you may see it with legs up the wall. This is a practice used with blankets, pillows, and this practice supports brain development, supports the neural pathways in the brain. It helps with relaxation, good for anyone struggling with insomnia, PTSD, anxiety, and it's that wakeful sleep. So you're not exactly asleep, although you may find yourself, maybe kind of drifting off into that REM, which is normal. And so really good practice. Again, I think about really busy schedules. Again, struggling with sleep, really having a hard time sleeping through the night, waking up with night terrors, chronic stress, anxiety. I worked with the clients, chronic stress, and trying to see what else. And I guess that can kind of go hand in hand with the CPTSD with flashbacks. So night terrors, flashbacks, anxiety. I-rest is a beautiful practice. You may also get singing bowls in that practice as well. So again, if you're liking this video. If you're enjoying it so far, please feel free to subscribe and stay tuned in with me. Okay, so continuing on, we have Vinyasa. So Vinyasa is a contemporary style yoga practice that consists of continual movement, but like fluid like movement. This practice can be based off of themes. It can, and when I say themes, it can be on, the chakra bodies. The instructor may create a sequence, a creative like sequence, or like a ladder up sequence geared towards whatever the energy or the astrological placements. Can be done on specific need, but it can be theme based. Very popular. We can find and see that all over YouTube, all over different yoga studios all over the world. Yin. So Yin can be tailored when working with the client one-on-one. Don't always see this particular style in a yoga studio. I have, but I don't always see this everywhere. But Yin is combining that yang energy in the beginning of the class. So like that vinyasa, so those dynamic and fluid movements, and as you begin to close towards the end of the practice, you begin to hold those poses longer, targeting, so again, less muscle engagement, but more so targeting the fascia tissue. Bikram. So Bikram yoga, also known as hot yoga. Fun fact, this was actually the first style of yoga that I did for the very first time I stepped on a mat in a studio. Brand new to yoga, the first style of yoga that I did in a hot studio. So hot studios or a hot space, sometimes even practicing outside, depending on the heat. Arizona. Arizona is where I first got certified. And so if you're in a studio, the temperature can range anywhere between 95 and 105. May even go up from that, but I believe the safest point is about 105 degrees. And Bikram actually, started in the 1970s by 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐞𝐿. Hope I'm saying that right. And it consists of 26 postures. These postures, again, practice in a heated space, and the purpose of this heat is to release some of the toxins in the body. So if you're looking for more of a purification, if you just really like sweating, you like that feeling of releasing those impurities, or just wanting to get the blood and the oxygen just replenished in the body, then I really think this is a great practice. And so it, like I said, it can be practiced or 95 to 105 degrees and for about an hour to 90 minutes is what you'll find for the hot yoga or Bikram. And next we have Iyengar. So Iyengar this yoga style focuses on alignment and precision and detail, right? And it uses props such as chairs, blocks, bolsters, held for a good decent amount of time. Not too long like you would in a yin class. I would say about the same length of about a hatha class. So held, but again, precision, detail, precision alignment. So I like to find if you're, I wouldn't say perfectionist, but maybe, yeah, you know, maybe you may find yourself you may find yourself fulfilled in this type of class. So, and then Iyengar, alignment, precision, form. And it's also a form of a hatha. So if you feel like you've graduated from your hatha, or you've been practicing hatha for a while, and you're saying, now that I know these postures, I want to focus on alignment, the detail of it all. So yeah, this may be a good practice for you. Next is Ashtanga. So you may have heard this before. So Ashtanga yoga. This practice, refers to the 8 limbs of yoga. And this practice may be more physically demanding, yet supports the pranayama, the drishti, which is the focus, and the movement, so that vinyasa, that fluid movement. But this practice consists of dynamic and fixed postures. So as you continuously practice Ashtanga, the levels can advance. So you have like your primary series, your secondary series. So those postures can advance. Every time I think of Ashtanga, I think of Laruga. I forget her last name, but I'll link her down below. So yeah, she's great. She's great. Kundalini yoga. So this is a spiritual style of yoga practice that focuses on the bandhas, the locks. So the bandhas, or the places where the energy is stuck, focusing at the base of the spine. So this practice includes chanting. It includes pranayama and repeating asanas, right? So it's a spiritual practice, and again, focuses on the base of the spine. This practice can be challenging, but still accessible. And so yeah, I like to say, depending where you are on your journey, if you're on a spiritual journey, I think this is a great practice to dive into. If you enjoy chanting, great practice to get into. I like to say working on that sacral chakra space, right at, the navel, right in this area, root chakra. Really good practice to explore. So just my take. Chair yoga. So I've been teaching this style of yoga for the past year and have really fell in love with teaching the community. You'll find this style in senior communities, but not limited to. If I'm honest, I wish more yoga studios offer this class. I really think I disappointed to see that it's not offered in many studios. And so, because we do see a lot of disabled individuals that move around just fine, and I just wish it was offered more. I wish I'd seen it more. And I also want to say that it's not limited to individuals that are, that have disabilities. And so this practice is a seated practice, and it supports strength, coordination, and mobility. And this practice, again, not limited to individuals that may have mobility limitations or any sort of disability. And so, what do I want to say? Is, this practice can also be practiced standing up, because a chair is just a prop. When I think about individuals that are, able-bodied standing, the chair becomes a prop to even get deeper into other areas. And so, again, the exploring of an asana and even the use of the prop in, say, the bolster or the blanket with the chair, it allows for exploration. Because again, my favorite thing to say, as we get older, we have to relearn the body over and over again, right? Because we go, oh, this feels different. I didn't feel that when I was like 7. Do you remember when we were kids, we just used to throw our bodies around? Oh my goodness. And now, I'll be 39 this year, and I'm just like, say, what now? Plantar fasciitis? Who? When? Oh my gosh. All right, I digress. Let's continue. As we just have a few more left here. Oh, the last 2 more. Yeah, 2 more left. The next one is yoga therapy. Hello, my latest obsession. So yoga therapy, it is a deeper practice that you do not get in a yoga studio. You hear me? So and when I say that, you don't get in a yoga class, right? Because we all show up differently. We have different needs. We are complex humans. You hear me? We have different needs. We have different desires. We have things running through our mind. We have things going on in politics. I mean, my gosh, there's so much, right? And there are things that we're actually carrying and we don't necessarily need to carry it anymore. And so we want to work with a yoga therapist, and this is someone who has deepened their studies of yoga beyond 500 hours of yoga education. And so this person has gone through in-depth training in-depth training, must I say it again? In-depth training. You can see how I feel about my class. In-depth training. And so when you're working with the yoga therapist, they're working with you individually, and they're coming up with a comprehensive plan to support you on your healing journey, whether that be emotionally, physically, energetically, spiritually, intellectually. It's amazing. So, must I say myself, yoga therapy is an amazing practice. So, if you're, looking for one, feel free to email me at 𝐴𝐶.nomoretrauma@gmail.com. All right, so outside of the ones that I mentioned, I'll go down a little bit further. I don't see this everywhere, but I see it everywhere. I don't see it everywhere, but I see it everywhere. I don't see it everywhere, but I see it everywhere. Aerial yoga. I love it. It's so amazing. Anti-gravity yoga. This practice of yoga is consisting of the yoga postures. Some of the yoga postures with this beautiful hammock and silk, right? And so it's helping you deepen your practice by targeting some of the joints and decompressing the joints with inversion. It's a beautiful practice. In the Shavasana, ooh, the ending, corpse pose in that hammock, and you're just swaying there. Oh, so good, so good, so good. I think this is a great practice if you, I would like to say if you are a regular yoga practitioner and you're bored in your practice, go to aerial. Try aerial. Try aerial yoga. You can also take these hooks and hammocks if you're not going into a studio. Depending on your living arrangements, you can have it installed in your home, which I think is amazing. And just kind of hang out for a while. Hang out for a while. It's an amazing practice. And it's actually credited to 𝐾𝐨𝐧'𝐭. Ooh. So yeah, it is a really good type of yoga to explore. So I hope you were able to get something out of this episode. And I hope that you now begin to explore and find the right class for you. Of course, there are fusion classes. Of course, there may be classes that I didn't mention. Again, the world is so creative. And, and so there are so many options, right? But what I talked about today in this video are the foundations, right? The traditions. And you know, I love foundation and tradition, at least when it comes to this, when it comes to yoga. I can very well be non-traditional. And so again, you can find classes like beer yoga, trap yoga, goat yoga, laughter yoga. I think that's amazing. So yeah, there are fusion classes, explore those. HIIT yoga, I have taught that. And sculpt yoga, of course. So again, great classes. But figure out the sankalpa, your intention. Why do you want to do this practice, and what it is that you're trying to achieve, what it is that you want to achieve in your practice? Is it mobility? Is it weight loss? Is it purification? Is it getting closer to divine and seeking God? Is it, prenatal yoga and wanting to, kind of prepare the body for that, right? Connecting with baby, connecting with the baby with that practice, or continuing your practice, but now the body, is going through changes and you want to, find other variations that are safe. Trauma-informed yoga, my goodness, hello Tanya. Trauma-informed yoga, finding a studio where you feel safe, right? Where the instructors know your name, are not spewing microaggressions. Ooh, that's another episode. Anywho, I am talking a lot, and this is we're spending some really juicy time together. Leave in the comments what you're currently practicing. Your practice can change, right? So you can practice Iyengar for 20 years and say, you know what? Yoga Nidra it is, right? Or Yin Yoga is for me and I'm sticking to it. Whatever that is. So leave in the comments what you're practicing. I'll stop talking. I am chatty Kathy today. What's in this tea? I'll link the tea down below. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. I'll see you back on the next episode. Remember to live abundantly, love your authenticity, and radiate organic happiness. But most importantly, live a life of no more trauma. Be well. Namaste.